Welcome to the Killer Author Club. 3 best-selling authors talking about killer, of the fictional kind, with the best thriller and suspense authors in the business. Killer conversations, killer cocktails, and killer guests, with your hosts, Kimberly Bell, Heather Gutenkopf, and Kara Ruda. This is the Killer Author Club.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Killer Author Club, your favorite haunt for all things murder, mystery, and mayhem. We are so excited to welcome the one and only Allison Winn Scotch to the Killer Author Club hot seat to tell us all about her latest, The Insomniacs. Will we ever sleep again? Will she survive? Will we? We have tons of questions and heaps of killer fun plans, so buckle up and get ready to kill the lights. I'm Killer Heather Gutenkopf.
I'm Killer Allison Winn Scotch.
I'm Killer Kara Ruda.
And I'm Killer Kimberly Bell.
So before we dive into the Insomniacs, we have a couple quick PSAs. Tonight's show will be available this Friday as a podcast with bonus content just for listeners. Find the links at killerauthorclub.com. And while you're there, sign up for our newsletter so you're the first to hear all of our killer breaking news. And speaking of breaking news, something big is about to be revealed. Our summer lineup drops tomorrow, so make sure you join the Killer Author Club Facebook group and follow us on Instagram so you don't miss a thing, because this one comes with a massive giveaway. And more big news, Rachel Housel Hall, one of our faves, will be taking over our Instagram feed this Thursday to share all kinds of behind-the-scenes fun about her upcoming new release, Mist and Malice. Schedule your reminder now so you don't miss out on all the fun. And yes, there will be more giveaways. But first, Kara, can you please introduce our killer guest?
I'd love to. Allison Winn Scotch is a New York Times bestselling author of 11 novels, including Cleo McDougal Regrets Nothing, In 20 Years, and Time of My Life. She lives in Los Angeles with her family and their 2 rescue dogs, Hugo and Mr. Peanut. Adorable. So, Allison, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Please I pray that Hugo does not start barking. He has an extremely loud, annoying bark. And
you know what? This is what we're here for, that, because my dogs will invariably bark.
Okay.
My barky one is Rocky. I call him like Rocky Barky. It just, so it'll happen.
Yeah, my husband's like, I'm going to take a walk. I was like, no, I don't think you can, because anything can happen if somebody is not watching him. So
exactly. So it's okay. We actually like it. It adds a certain.
Okay. Yeah, he'd love to make an appearance.
Dogs are welcome here.
Okay. Yes. Good. He might burst into my office, so that's possible.
So, okay, could you give us the elevator pitch about the Insomniacs?
Yeah, so the Insomniacs is about 4 insomniacs, strangers who, since Heather's holding it up, here it is, who meet in the middle of the night and decide to try to help one another solve their the problems that are plaguing them, keeping them awake. And when one of them goes missing, they team up to figure out what happened. And you guys are real experts in thrillers. I would say this is more of a mystery, and it's really more about found family. And I'm curious to hear the craft of how you do it, because this was really the first plot-driven book that I've written, and it was really challenging for me. So it is a mystery, and I love these 4 humans, fictional humans, but it's, a story of found family of people who find each other in the middle of the night.
Well, we loved it, and I can't wait to talk to you all about it. And you guys who are listening and watching, please get chatty and drop comments and questions for Allison in the comments. But first, Kimberly, what are we drinking tonight?
Right. Well, tonight's drink is an Aperol Spritz. Yum, my favorite.
Yeah.
Allison, please tell us why you've chosen this as your drink tonight.
So I'm not a huge drinker, but I like a light, sort of fruity, refreshing, like on the Italian coast, sort of drink when I drink. And it's not theme related. It's just a drink that I happen to like. It's either that or like a Riesling or a Sauvignon Blanc for me. So I thought it was a little more interesting than just saying uncork a bottle of wine. So
we love that too.
Yeah, exactly. We could have just done that, but that's sort of where I am. So,
Well, cheers, everyone.
cheers. Yeah, thank you. Oh, I like it. Are you just chugging a straight water bottle?
Yeah, it's
I got
water.
one, don't worry.
No, you could have pretended. So,
Oh, so good. Well, cheers to it.
cheers. Thank you guys again for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, we are excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we created the Killer Author Club so readers could get up close and personal with their favorite thriller writers. Our upcoming lineup is amazing killers. So, but remember to find out who, pop into our Facebook group and Instagram page tomorrow to find out who will be stalking the Killer Author Club. And for dates, times, past episodes, surf to killerauthorclub.com tomorrow as well. But tonight, it's all about the Insomniacs. And here's what some of Allison's early reviewers have to say about the book. Parade magazine warns you'll turn into an insomniac yourself as you end up hooked on figuring everything out before the friends do. And Library Journal says, Whip Smart, a compelling mystery whose ending readers won't easily predict. And New York Times bestselling author Stephen Rowley says, Allison Winn Scotch has crafted not only a gripping mystery that unfolds under the cover of darkness, but also a story where kind people once again care for fellow human beings. If this book was a dream, I didn't want to wake up. Put on the coffee. This one is worth staying up for. So that is, again, from best-selling author Stephen Rowley. Such kind.
That was the nicest blurb I think I've ever gotten. I just need to shout out Stephen, whose book I'm so excited for. He has a book out next month that I'm really looking forward to. So that was so nice of him.
We're all excited for that. But
yeah.
No, so Allison, we know that you've just come over to the dark side, but you have shown yourself to be a very talented and compelling killer. And so now we need to know the answer to this question. Who do you kill?
So I knew you guys were going to ask me this, and I thought I need to come up with a diplomatic way to say this. I have things that people who I probably cannot say publicly who I would kill, but I'm just going to say I would like to kill the patriarchy. I would like to kill men who think they know better than women simply because they are male when we are the smarter gender. And I am, as I think you guys are, at a point in my life where I'm just not interested in hearing from somebody sharing an experience that they do not understand, or telling me that they know better, or telling me what they know and they don't actually know it. So if I could just kill the patriarchy and enlist the matriarchy, that is what I would do.
I'm over here cheering you on.
Yeah. I feel like society would be significantly improved. So take that answer for what it is in my who.
But you kill men.
Yeah, exactly. And not all men, but some of them.
The worst ones.
The worst ones. Yeah, exactly. So, so that would be my answer.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
everyone's agreeing with you in the comments.
Yeah.
So this novel brings together four strangers who, like you, we all loved, and into an all-night diner, a very specific and cinematic setting. So what drew you to this space as the anchor for connection?
So, the story came to me at like 3:00 in the morning when I was awake, as a lot of women are at midlife, sort of not sure why we're awake, but I'm unable to fall back asleep. And I tried to your question, Heather, sort of think of a place that was cozy, that was cinematic, that brought all types of people. And I live in Los Angeles now, but having lived in New York for many, many years, there are these sort of all-night diners where students go and, construction workers go, and men and women coming home from, these high pressure, like investment banking jobs. And it's sort of a catch-all for where all walks of life are going to go and have like eggs and toast in the middle of the night. So, and I really liked this notion that they were sitting there looking out on the world that was, ostensibly asleep, but still there was so much going on around it. So that's where it began. And the book began really with Sybil, who I needed to get out of her suburb and into the city and figure out how she could find her way there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love Sybil. I feel like very connected to Sybil. The
Yeah.
Thank you.
the frozen shoulder. I mean, there were so many things.
I like Sally Hepworth's answer of like when she would kill, and when she didn't have her HRT, and I was like, I understand that. Sybil would agree. So yeah,
It's all a little murderous.
yeah, exactly.
I know men watching are like, oh no, this
Yeah,
again.
sorry. Not only do I want to kill you, I'm now talking about HRT. They're probably linked, but Sybil she was the one who really came to me as a woman in the middle of the night who was awake. I mean, our circumstances are not the same, but I think a lot of women at midlife can relate to that sleeplessness, the anxiety of sort of what the back half of your life is looking about, sort of what you're aiming for. If you have children, young adulthood for them can be very stressful, even as a parent. Like you feel like they should be off on their own, but my phone blows up. I had to text my kids, do not bother me for the next hour when I was hopping on.
I just did that with my daughter, literally.
Yeah,
a few seconds
exactly.
ago.
Like nobody can who knows if they will honor that, but so Sybil really was that foundational emotional thread where I started, and she pulls everybody else in. And I just thought she was, again, if you're somewhere between 40 and 60, a lot of us could understand what plagues her at night.
Mm-hmm. So if the story started with Sybil, did it also start as a mystery? Do you know where your story is going when you first sit down to write?
Right. So this is why I'm super impressed with you guys. It did not start off as a mystery. It started off, I pitched it to my publisher as, 4 people in the middle of the night who come together to help solve each other's problems so they can get back to sleep. And I wrote 150 pages, turned it in. My editor and agent were like, yeah, it's good. And then they were like, but what about if you put in a mystery? And I was like, I don't write mysteries. Like, I don't want to do that. And they were like, okay, but you're not hearing us. That wasn't a question. You should put in a mystery. And I was really grouchy about it. And then I wrote another 150 pages trying to write a mystery. And they were like, yeah, it's not quite right. So I started over for a third time. And this time it sort of finally gelled. And I credit my editor immensely because she stayed on. We did like a 2-hour call. She was in London at the time. It was late her time. And we really figured out there's sort of a twist at the end of part 1 that we decided to implement. And that helped me figure out the back half. So no, to answer your question, Kimberly, I'm curious if you guys write with outlines. I've never sort of known where my books are going to end because they've always been so character driven. And that was really challenging for me. And I also felt like, again, among 3 great writers, I had such imposter syndrome, feeling like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, even character driven books, yes, there's always a question of why or what you're moving towards, but a mystery felt different to me. So it was a real struggle. And when I turned in the draft that, there were still tweaks and whatever to come, and I did not hear from my editor and agent for like 2 or 3 weeks, I was in
terrifying.
Like a cloth sweat panic that they were going to come at me and be like, you have to start it all over again. And when they called me or emailed me, I can't remember, and were like, you did it. I'm telling you, it was the shock of a lifetime. So I have great admiration. Do you guys outline? I'm curious, like how you get there.
We're kind of a mix.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of start with character, and so I've always kind of been character driven as well, and so I'm a pretty happy pantser over here.
Yeah.
Heather used to be a pantser. Now she is moving to the dark side of plotting, I think, but she's kind of in the middle. And Kimberly is a big plotter. So
I don't know how to write a story with so many moving parts without like figuring it out first.
Yes. Yes.
And what was fun, because we just wrote a book together, and it was very clear with the collaboration that without somebody that knows how to plot, you can't really do it.
Well, it's hard to write a book together unless you're going to just completely wing it all the way through, which, good grief, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
So
that
I
would
just
be-
did a project with the screenwriter, and screenwriters, I think, always plot out because they're
Yeah,
sort of
they know
points.
their stuff. Yeah.
And I mean, it took 6 years to actually get made. But at the beginning, when we were on like his big board, and I was like, oh my God, this is so much easier if you have the scenes and then you just fill them in. Like, why can I not do this? But I can't do it. It's just not.
I can't
how
either. My characters
exactly.
just stop
It's just
talking
not
to me.
how I do it. But it would make life significantly easier.
It really would. It really would.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. And it did with the collaboration, but
Yeah.
got to do what you got to do. So there you
Correct.
go.
Allison,
Okay, so did you research the psychological effects of sleep deprivation, or was it more you did?
I didn't. What I really did do the research into was, without too many spoilers, sort of the cult aspect, because I felt like I had such imposter syndrome again writing in this that I just wanted to be sure that I was portraying that accurately. And I listened to a lot of podcasts. I obviously watched a lot of documentaries, and I really became very fascinated. And I think this is a wider cultural thing as well right now in America, with how people not only get into them if you're not born into them, but how people deconstruct, and the bravery and courage and fearlessness that it takes to sort of undo everything that you have been taught in your life. I think I have a lot of admiration for that. So I went deep into that. The sleep deprivation thing, I felt like, as somebody who is not a good sleeper anymore, I just sort of tapped into. And I will say, Laura Dave is a good friend of mine, and she reads all my early drafts. And one of her notes was, they don't seem tired enough to me. So I had to go back and sort of put in like the body aches and pains that you noted, Heather, and things like that. Because I was like, I'm always tired, and I just stumble my way through my day.
Yeah.
But she's like, no, they need to be more tired. So yeah,
That's cute.
you nailed it.
yeah, thank you.
So one thing I noticed throughout the book that you really highlighted beautifully, I think, is that sense of loneliness that people seem to have. I think so many people are, caught up in their own little worlds and locked behind screens. And so how did you develop that as well with your characters? What did you tap into there?
So, well, I thank you for that. I love that you picked up on that. I think that is symptomatic. The loneliness epidemic, I think, that is really symptomatic of our society right now, was something that I was also interested in. And I think being awake in the middle of the night is one of the loneliest things that we can experience, because your body is rebelling for like the most natural thing that it should be doing, and nobody is around. And so that was really where the idea was born from. Like, wouldn't it be amazing if there was sort of a network of friends who happened to be awake and you could speak to in the middle of the night, and they could help you. But I think, and this maybe gets back to the craftiness of it, which I don't mean to bore the audience, but when you're writing something character-based, and Kara, you can talk about this too, you really try to tap into like that emotional resonance of what they're going through. And so these are 4 lonely people, and by finding each other, by having this found family, creating community, I just think it's what a lot of us are looking for right now. Like, we're looking around and like, who are people who are allies? Who are people who are like-minded? And I don't mean like, patriarchal or whatever. I'm not trying to politicize that. I just think a lot of people feel lost right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have a community wherever you find it is really, that idea of found family is just, I think it's really resonant. Like, people maybe are not connecting with people who they thought they would in their lives. And particularly, I think in midlife, where we're looking around and being like, maybe those friends don't suit me, or maybe this partner doesn't suit me. So finding people in unexpected places who can fulfill you. So I think I wrote towards that. I think writing it in this moment in time allowed for me to really reflect on that, the lonely nature of our society, whether it's by screens or, just the divisiveness. so I just searched for something that was lonely in all of them. And I will say, we talked about Sybil. I really loved that about Zeke as well. His sort of vulnerability. I think he was maybe my favorite one to write. So, you know, you can seem super, super successful and still be incredibly lonely.
Right. Right. And they're all kind of at this crossroads in their life, right? Something's
Yeah.
changed in the way they thought their life was going to be. And all of a sudden they, you know, have to rethink where they're going.
Yeah.
And I want to say, so Sybil had something happen to her that is my fear, has always been one of my fears, the knife falling off the counter and stabbing her in the foot.
Yeah.
And do you guys think about that? I think about it every single time I pull out a knife. I'm like, oh no, what if it falls on my foot?
So
And how
that happened not with a knife, but it happened to my daughter with a cast iron pan, and it split her toenail straight off. She's very tough, so she was like, I'm okay. And she was with my dad, who is still plagued by guilt 5 years later. But so maybe that's where it came from. But you know, I really needed to set that up to get her to confront her husband. So that was
brilliant. I love it.
Thank you.
good. So good.
Thank you.
Okay, you know what? It's already that time, you guys.
How did that happen?
Okay, Killer Allison is giving away 3 copies of the Insomniacs to lucky U.S. viewers. Doesn't matter where you're watching. We scour the comments everywhere we stream, but please make sure to shout out where you're from when you answer this question. Which one of Killer Allison's books, pitched as The Hangover meets When Harry Met Sally, is currently being developed for Netflix? Wow.
Am I answering that, or are they?
They have to answer that. It'd probably be helpful if we talked about it. So maybe you should tell us just a little bit about it, so they'll be able to answer in there. Yeah.
So sorry, am I talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you should.
Can I tell you what book? Can I tell them what book that is?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Listen.
I just didn't. That is The Rewind. It's actually not at Netflix anymore. It has moved. You guys are well immersed in Hollywood, whatever, but it is still in development. It is The Rewind. It's the story of 2 college exes who left on very bad terms, who wake up, go to their college reunion and wake up the next morning, possibly having gotten married, but do not remember what happened. So that was, I have a few favorites that I've written, and that was definitely one of them. I love that book. So it was just fun. Yeah.
We can't wait to watch.
And I will say that when I was complaining and bitching and moaning to my editor and agent about them making me write this as mystery, they were like, there is a mystery in The Rewind. They didn't know what happened. You just have to think about it like that. And I was like, okay, it's not the same, but thank you for encouraging me.
It's not the same, but okay.
Yeah. I was like, I know you're just doing your jobs. Thank you. Yeah.
I love it.
You had me turning the pages to find out what happened in it. So it was
for sure.
very successful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I learned a lot, and my next one is also a mystery, and it's been much easier. So
good. Yeah. Yay.
I guess it's a skill,
coming.
it's a muscle that you can train. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
I saw someone ask
which I actually want to call the matriarchy. They're not letting me. Yeah. It is a all-female island, and the founder may be up to some nefarious things.
Ooh,
so it's fun. I'm almost done.
Love it. Well, we can't wait.
Thanks.
So the Killers are big fans of independent booksellers and want to send them all the support. Allison has chosen Diesel, a bookstore in Brentwood, California, to highlight tonight. Allison, tell us why you love Diesel so.
So Diesel is my local indie bookstore. They hosted the launch of the Insomniacs, and actually, if people are in LA, they have signed copies there. They're like a warm, welcoming. They're at the center of this outdoor sort of, it's not a mall, but like an outdoor area where dining and people come in and out there all day. It's just a real community space that I'm sure, so many indie stores are. And the booksellers are friendly and they know their stuff. And whenever I have a signing there and I'm behind the counter, I just think like, I just like to work here. Like, I don't even need to write books anymore. I just would like to be a bookseller. So it's just a special place that is sort of the heart of, the Brentwood reading community.
Love it. Well,
Yeah.
I just dropped the link in the comments so you can order the Insomniacs along with any other books on your wish list.
Yeah, they're really great. I mean, we all have them in our community, but I really like them a lot.
And obviously, the killers love to read, and we love it when you share what you're reading in our Facebook group. So post pictures, write reviews, and ask for recommendations and give yours. Tonight, though, we want to know, Allison, what are you currently reading?
So I just started Into the Blue, which was, I think, the Reese pick last month, by Emma. No, not Gray. Sorry, I should have known her last name. It's on my Kindle. I don't know if you guys read on your Kindles, and then I never see the actual title
or the
yeah, exactly. I know the cover. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up her name. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Into the Blue, Reese Book Club pick. I'll tell you when it comes up. And then I'm listening to, which I know you guys are not. I was out to dinner with friends last night. They're like, what? I'm listening to the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, which is like all over the New York Times bestseller list. And it's like the Hunger Games set in space. And I am deep into book 5. I am really into it. It's sort of speculative dystopian fiction that I really like. So that is what I'm doing. And I have Mad Mabel up next, and Stephen Rowley's book and Crash Into Me by Robin Lee. So I have a long.
Oh, wow. That's like all across the board.
You know what? I don't know about you guys, but like I will read anything as long as it's well written. So what have you guys been devouring?
It's good for your brain to do that. I do.
That's how I feel. Like when I was coming up, I didn't read anything that was similar to mine because I was so worried that I would like sort of poach somebody's stuff. But now there's inspiration everywhere.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I'm excited about Mad Mabel. It's getting really
It's so good. Yeah.
I love Sally's work, so I'm excited about that one.
Yeah.
You have a great list. Oh,
thank you.
And speaking of fabulous books, we have 3 new releases to celebrate tonight. Okay, first we have The Hostess by Courtney Sack. Following a terrible accident, Natalie and her husband rent a gorgeous home on an estate in the Hamptons, only to discover that the beautiful owner of the estate is hiding dark secrets and the previous guest disappeared without a trace. Boom, boom, boom. Next, we have Penitence by Kristen Koval. In the wake of a shocking murder, 2 families must navigate impossible choices in this propulsive story of family loyalty, redemption, and the profound experience of true forgiveness. And finally, we have This Song Is About Me by Melissa De La Cruz. A reporter strives to discover the reason behind a superstar's disappearance in an enthralling novel about the mysteries of love and success by a New York Times bestselling author. All right, you guys, ready to win? Courtney is giving away 2 bundles that include both The Hostess and her latest release, The Tutor. Kristen is giving away 1 copy of Penitence. Penitence, yeah. Okay. And Melissa is giving away 3 copies of This Song Is All About Me to all 2 U.S. viewers. If you want in, tell us in the comments and make sure to let us know where you're from. And because we're all about shamelessly plugging our own murdery fun, don't miss the killer's latest reads.
That's right, Kara Scott. We Were Never Friends, a sorority reunion that takes a very, very dark turn.
And speaking of deadly parties, Heather is serving up the perfect host, an over-the-top gender reveal party that explodes in more ways than one.
And Kimberly's taking you on a deadly European getaway in the expat affair. 2 Americans, the glittering diamond trade, in danger in Amsterdam.
And we want to say a big killer thanks to Book Reporter for sharing the murdery love. Stay up to date on bookish news and events at bookreporter.com.
So, Allison, we have excellent news for you. You survived the Killer Author Club.
Well, thank you guys for having me. And Kara, I forgot to say, I think you blurbed Cleo McDougal Regrets Nothing, and I like just the community of you. It's just really meaningful, how supportive you guys are of other authors, and Kimberly, I've known you through Facebook groups in the past, and Heather, it's so nice to connect to you. So I'm just really appreciative to be here. And I want to say that author Into the Blue is by Emma Brody. And I just started, I'm really enjoying it, but thank you. It really means a lot.
Well, we loved having you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So tell us where our listeners and viewers can find you online.
I'm on Instagram and Threads. I don't really do Facebook, but it's AS Winn, like AS and then my last name. And I'm on there. I'm on Threads a lot, and I feel like Instagram notifications, I can't figure them out anymore. Like they reconfigure them and I miss a lot of things, but I am on Instagram if people want to reach out there as well.
Great. Well, that's a wrap on tonight's episode. Thank you for hanging out with us. And don't forget that Rachel Housel Hall will be taking over our Instagram feed this Thursday. She's got tons of fun and giveaways planned. So set your alarm and tune in for that. And remember, tomorrow, summer lineup, huge giveaway on our Facebook page and Instagram. And so join the Killer Author Club Facebook group and follow us on Instagram to get in the killer fun. And we'll be back in 2 weeks on May 12th with Lauren Oliver, talking all things The Girl in the Lake. Until then, you can watch us wasting too much time on Instagram, Facebook, and occasionally TikTok. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our channel. And for links, upcoming schedule, past episodes, and merch, head to killerauthorclub.com. Thank you for being part of the club. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That does it for tonight's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to catch our next show live, we're every other Tuesday night on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For times, upcoming schedule, and to catch up on past episodes, visit us at killerauthorclub.com. Happy reading. Now get on out there and kill that TBR.